Hey there. Just setting up. Just setting up for today. We're coloring this today, coloring this in. I'm really super excited about this because I just had this idea yesterday when I was coloring this during yesterday's live stream. And I was like, oh my God, I have to color this in with white pen like this one. So that's what we're doing today. That is what we're doing, and I'm super excited about it. So I'm just gonna get myself up here on my iPad, and then we're gonna be in biz.
Hey guys,
Whoops.
It's Cass.
Gotta lower my volume here. There we go. All right. Go there. All right. I can see myself now. Hey guys. Hey guys. There you are. I can see you. Awesome. So today we're going to color this page. So yesterday's live stream, if you want to go back and watch it at some point, whenever or not, you can just look at my grid if you don't know what I'm talking about, but water. So yesterday I decided to color this with these pens. They're not pens, sorry, they're crayons. With the Marabu art crayon and the Faber Castell Gelatos. And I did like this smudgy tie-dye thing, and I totally dug it so much that I thought, I am totally, I just got a text from somebody and I'm doing my live stream, so we're going to talk later. But, okay, back on track. So yesterday, after I did this, I was going into it with my Neo colors, which I always use, the Caran d'Ache Neo Color 2 and 1 crayons. And you can see a little bit of that here, but I was like, I need to let this cure because it's kind of like right after you draw with it, with these, right after you do the smudgies, it's a little like slick because these have a lot of emollient ingredients in them. They're water soluble, but they feel very oily. So I wanted to let them dry. I thought this is going to be awesome if I let this dry and come back to it tomorrow and do something like this, but probably cooler because I'm going to have a better surface, then that would be so cool and something that I have never done with coloring before. So my name is Kathy. I'm an artist. I design lots of stuff, but one of the things I love to do is I love to create coloring books. And this page is in this book, Self-Guidance here. Let's see if we can find it. There it is. Oh my gosh. Sneak peek. This is what I did yesterday too. Isn't that cool? So I used the same. I'm really into this technique. It's like, it's very cool. It's totally bringing me joy right now. And I'm going to sit down and we're going to do this. So yeah, my name is Kathy. I'm an artist and I love to color for therapy, which is, I started this practice, my daily coloring therapy. I started this hashtag for myself. Right around the time quarantine started, I started coloring. I color intermittently, just to sort of keep myself when I can't do other stuff. Like for instance, I had a hip replacement in November, and after that, my coloring books came in really handy because I couldn't really do much, but I could sit on my chair and color, and that was awesome. And I love coloring for that, but also it's just a great it's a great place to experiment with different mediums and with different techniques. So you just got to like get into it and play around, and it's so much fun. So if you want some free coloring pages, this is where my free coloring pages are, bit.ly/courageouspages. Have at it. And my coloring books on Amazon can be found at this link, bit.ly/KathyColor, all lowercase. So let's get to it. So yesterday I thought, after I did this page, and it was kind of slick because my Neo colors weren't working so hot on it, I thought, you know what? I'm going to let this kind of sit around for 12 to 24 hours. It's actually been more like 28 hours. But anyway, I'm going to let this sit around and dry and seep into the fibers and let things cure. And then I'm going to go bananas on this with my Posca pen, white. And this is a bullet-shaped one. I really prefer this size tip, which is, okay, this one's kind of, looks a little dirty, but this tip I prefer over the thinner tip, and I will tell you why. Is this the thinner tip? No, that's a good one too. Okay, so these are both good, and I think these are both, yep, these are both the same tip. I have one here. Here it is. This is the tip. Oh, no, that's not the right one. Sorry. This is what happens on live streams, guys. It's just a mess. This is the tip that I cannot stand, okay? So this is a smaller tip. And the thing about these tips over the, I think these are PC, this one is PC3M, PC-3M, bullet-shaped tip. So this is the kind of tip that you can kind of make it thinner or thicker. The flow is really good. And I have the least amount of problems with this size tip. And that actually goes for Posca pens, for all kinds of water-based paint pens. The Posca, the Molotow, One for All, and what else? Oh, no, just those two. Anyway, but I do want to show you the difference between the Posca thinner tip, which 0.7 mm tip. So this is the thicker one, and if I pull it out a little, you can see. It's nice fiber all the way around. No plastic is around that. On this one, which is, it's more tapered, but there's like a sheath of plastic around here. And I mean, they have their reasons for doing this, but I'm not happy about it because they never seem to work the same. And the thing about these thicker tips is you can actually sort of play around and control. Here, let me just grab this. So you can kind of play around and control the thickness of your tip if you're just careful. You know, you don't have to have a smaller tip and then have all of the liabilities that smaller tip gives you, which is a lack of flow of paint to the tip. I mean, I have a lot of problems with the smaller tips, but this tip is good. And if you're just careful and you just sort of, you know, figure out how much pressure you want to put and different angles you want to use, you can get like a decent thin tip with this if you're just careful. So I've done side-by-sides with the other pens, the ones that are the smaller tip, and I have found that I can get pretty much the same size of a tip with the thicker. Not that this is thick, because it's not thick, but it is thicker than the thinner one. So we're going to use that. And then this is a UniBall Signo Broad, and you can get these on Amazon. It's a white paint pen. This one is a little bit janky. It's not really working 100%. Usually these are very, very smooth when they have ink in them. Obviously, but what I mean to say by that is you can use an entire thing of ink in not a lot of time with these. But when the ink is in there, it's usually flowing pretty good. So these are actually my favorite just gel pen, white gel pen. A lot of people love the jelly rolls. That's great. this is my favorite. I actually should revisit the Jelly Roll because so many people love the Jelly Roll. So many people that I love the Jelly Roll, I should say. But I'm stuck on the UniBall Signo just because that's my personal preference. So this is a white Neocolor 1 Caran d'Ache crayon. This is the non-water soluble one. I mention them almost every video because I am obsessed with them, and I have been for years and years. They're just my favorite. I just wanted to do a little test and see how well this works today on this paper compared to how it worked yesterday. So I don't even know if I'm going to continue to use this today. I probably won't because it's a very thick, it's like a crayon tip. And honestly, when I decided yesterday to jump on the white pen train, I was just like stuck on that. And I gave up the whole idea of using this. But I do want to just do a quick test and see. Nope. Okay. So this is working similar to how it worked yesterday, which is not so great. Like, yes, you can see, I used a blue one there. I used a white one there. You can see it, but it's not great. But this is going to pop and it's going to look really cool. So, hey, Tim. Hey, Leslie. How you guys doing? So I'm back at it today. I'm so glad you're here, and I'm just gonna work on this. I want to tell you guys a little secret about these. Another little secret. If you're really into doing white ink, I have a little tip. So I guess it's not really a secret, but what I have done, and I can't find it right this minute. I have the white one and that's fine. But what I have taken to doing with these Posca when I want to use white ink, or just as sort of an alternate thing to do, is to get, I think they have about two or three. I'm trying to be really neat with this. I actually brought this one in so I could do detail with it, but I'm trying to do as much with this one as I can. So I have taken to using a off-white UniBall Posca when I want to do white with some more muted, sophisticated colors to sort of marry that a little bit better. And I don't think I have, let me see if I have an example of this handy. I do have an example handy, but it's not handy enough that I'm going to stop everything I'm doing right now because you're my company, and you know, I'm a nice host and I don't want to be rude. Okay. So yeah, this pen is sort of being a little picky. I'm actually going to, okay. You want to see another funny thing? I have a bunch of these UniBall Signos. I bought them in bulk from Amazon a while ago because I just don't want to be without them. But the problem when you buy them in bulk all at once is they don't always stay, you know, the freshest all together. So this one's looking a little bit better. So I have some uber thin lines here. I'm just gonna do here. And another thing about these pens, I wish I could get just like a glide. Okay, that worked. So these pens tend to work better on a weird surface, on a surface that's been compromised, such as this one, because it already has there's already pigment and fillers in this fiber of this paper. So it's going to be harder for this guy to hop on here, if you know what I mean. So what I found is if you go back and forth like so, as opposed to doing like that, you'll get a better result. Nobody, or I shouldn't say nobody, not everybody's going to want to do it this method because it's a little more tedious, I guess. But this is a little more frustrating because you get these weird little streaks. Now, you might like those streaks, and if you do, go for it. You know, go for it. And this one, the other way, needs a little more finesse and like technique that you sort of have to learn and play around with. Like for this right now, I'm picking up and putting down, picking up and putting down, side to side, side to side, like that. And if I can make that perfect, nothing's perfect, but if I can make that, like, as you can see, I'm not getting any little crunchy bits in there when I do it that way. Now I'm just trying to cover up the other ones, but you get my point. So that's just a little tip. Now I'm going to try and avoid that as much as possible. And another thing I like to do with these pens is, especially when you're using them over other media, something that already has something on it, clean it off like that. Like just wipe it or use some, I like to have paper on the bottom on my surface so I can just clean up my pen, you know, easily. No muss, no fuss. How is this going? Okay. So what I really, really, really like is if I can get inside the black lines. But I really didn't want to be like super fussy on this one because the art is so fussy. I mean, the line is so detailed on this one for a coloring page. And, you know, I love it, obviously, but I find that it can be a little tedious sometimes. So I think it's cool to find alternate ways to color a really detailed page that's sort of like off the grid, you know? Try something new, try something different that you really enjoy that isn't going to get frustrating for you, you know? Like, that's not the point of doing this. The point is, you know, to get into the zone, to do a little moving meditation with your art, and that's what we're looking for. And we don't want to get like stressed out by our coloring page. I mean, that's like the absolute that is not what we're doing this for, you know? So today, for the first time in probably a week, I took a walk, you guys. I took a walk, and I live in the city. I live on a residential street in a city, and Matt and me went. My husband Matt went with me. We both had our masks on. I was completely covered up in my puffer jacket. There's something about being like covered, I feel safer, but also we just avoid, unfortunately, we have to avoid people like the plague, obviously, social distancing, but we're also quarantining, so we are really not leaving the house, pretty much. This is the first time in probably a week that I've left the house, but I just need to get a walk in, okay? I mean, I can walk around my house, which I do, and I do exercises in my house, but you know, I really needed to get a little bit of a stretch of my legs. So we really only went out for like 10 minutes, 15, probably 10 minutes. Walked up the street, walked back. What did we see? We saw people. We saw people with masks on. I'm just going to stop talking about my walk for a quick second and tell you that usually, because I'm a lefty, I will color from right to left because then I don't like get marks everywhere. But I seem to have forgotten that on this. So I'm going to start more up here now, and oh, this is so tight. Oh my gosh, the details. Okay, let me grab one of these. See what we can do here. I just don't want to have an exercise in frustration because that's not what this is about. So if I do like one single line and I can get my pen to glide, then I'm not going to get that crazy streak. I wonder if I'm in the camera right now. Can you see me? No. All right. There we go. So There we go. All right, so this is working okay. So, oh my God, I just totally lost my train of thought. So I've been doing these live streams all week. Oh, this is something else you don't want to do. You don't want to like go over something you just did, because then you're going to get a crunchy line there. You want it to be like untouched, and then just do the line. Make sure that it has the texture to grip onto. Hey, Richard. And then just glide it so you can sort of avoid that, that streak. I don't like that streak. So I could do my side-to-side method here, but it's really, really thin. So, that looks okay. So I'm just going to leave that right now. And now I'm just gliding. I'm gliding. I'm trying not to really like touch the paper too much. I'm just gliding this to avoid streak, to avoid that little ball press line that you know what I'm talking about? The one that says, hey, I pressed really hard when I made this line, and this is, this is my novelty. I came back with this souvenir. So I recently put up a page of all free coloring pages of other artists that I have asked for them to contribute a coloring page, and they did. And that website, that web link actually is at courageouscoloring.com and then /resources. So you can find lots of coloring pages by other artists there. And then if you want to see my coloring pages that I've designed for you that are free, you can go to bit.ly/courageous pages. And you can grab some pages and color. So yeah, this is what happens when we get intense in our artwork. It's like I'm much less talkative, right? And I'm wondering if my head is in the screen right now, but I'm just going to do as much of this as I can in our time today. I got an hour. So I have decided to keep my live streams to 1 hour on Instagram because 2 reasons. 1, I want to put them on IGTV after, and IGTV only allows an hour or less. So there's one reason. The other reason is, okay, my head might get in the screen here. The other reason is that, yeah, you know what? This one is it's a bit detailed for a live stream. So yeah, I'm excited to do it, but this is the kind of piece that I need to stick my face in. And I can't really stick my face in this right now. I mean, I am probably sticking my face in this right now. And hey, Sharon O'Grady Art. Hey, Lucy. Hey, Richard again. So I think in the future, well, I probably am not going to be making more coloring pages that are quite this detailed, because this is probably, well, this is one of the most detailed coloring pages I've done, and I think on some levels it defeats the purpose that I create. Oh, thanks, Richard. Richard just said that my head is not sticking in here, so thank you, Richard. I appreciate it. It sort of defeats the purpose for me of doing these. Not because it's, not because it's art therapy for me to draw them, but because the nature of my books are therapy for people with challenges in life, such as health challenges and, personal challenges. So I created self-guidance and self-reliance to, help you feel more confident and to grow confidence. And you know, that's the deal. So that's probably, that book has the most detailed pieces that I have. But I also have Cancer Warrior, Kidney Disease Warrior, Chronic Illness Crusader, and another, and Cancer Crushing Ninja. And those, I specifically designed those to be challenging enough, but not, not distressingly challenging for somebody who is undergoing treatments. Because a lot of people use those books while they're in treatment, while they're getting their chemo or getting their dialysis, so we don't need to be adding, any stress. We're there to help. So, I want them to be empowered and to, feel energized by their coloring. I don't want people to feel drained. So that's sort of where I'm at. But, I love drawing and I love lines. So I did get a little bit detailed with self-guidance and self-reliance. And I'm happy I did, because I do think that they're really good and they're cool alternatives to my other offerings. Even though nothing's like super, super simple or anything. But nothing in those other books is like super, super, super duper detailed, like something like this. But, you got to kind of know your why, right? Know your why and know what you're providing for your audience and stuff. And I think it's okay that these are a little more detailed, because the nature of the book is less, it's a little bit more broad, I should say. So, or the audience for the books, for self-guidance and self-reliance. But, yeah. All right. I'm going to really just try to concentrate and get this going. See, this is what happens. I'm a lot more quiet when I'm really trying to focus on the art. And I really enjoy talking to you guys. Like, I've been really into these live streams because I just love to talk to you guys about life stuff. I've told a lot of life stories over the past week in my live streams. A lot of stories that, like, stuff that I never expected I would actually talk about on a live stream, quite honestly. But that's fine. That's totally fine with me. So I'm just shaking my pen, trying to get some flow going here. So I think next time I'm going to pick something less super detailed. And honestly, I was like so jazzed to come on here today and to color this in ink, because I love it. But I didn't even think about the fact that, like, wow, it's going to be a lot more quiet. It's going to be a lot more quiet today, because I'm going to just move this up a little bit for you guys. It's going to be more quiet because I can't talk as much when I'm concentrating. But I am putting my live streams on, excuse me, can I talk? I am putting my live streams, thank you, on YouTube. And I'm also going to put them on the Courageous Coloring website. So that's what I'm doing. And what's a happy childhood thing that I've done recently? Richard is asking. Here's a happy childhood thing that I've been doing recently. I've been, I started this hashtag. Where is it? Did I show it to you guys yet? No, that's not it. I started the hashtag My Daily Coloring Therapy. And that's actually sort of what's led me to all this stuff, to doing live streams and stuff. But I started coloring a page a day. I just said, hey, this quarantine is stressful. And I need to color. I need to do something that is absolutely not, not like client work, not you know, nothing that I'm attaching the outcome to, just something meditative like coloring. And that's exactly why I started doing it. Yeah, that's why I started doing it. Other than that, I do have the occasional like dance party sing along to my Spotify in my studio, and sometimes I sing loud and like nobody wants to hear me sing loud, but that does happen on occasion. Not even on occasion. Well, on occasion makes it sound like it's like a special occasion, and it's really not. It's like whenever I feel like it. So let's see here. Where are we going with this? So yesterday this was my first experiment doing this. So I liked doing not everything. And I liked holding back. I liked being more conservative and then adding more detail in different spots with the pen as opposed to filling in. So you'll see here in this little cacti, I did dots instead of filling the whole thing in. Where else did I do that? I don't think, oh, the flower, but I did that later on in the piece. So I think I want to do some of that. So let's grab, you know what I'm very tempted to do too, because I do this a lot with my lettering, I like to fill in the space, the negative space. And I kind of want to do that with this A, and now I could potentially make a little mess, but I'm going to do it. Give me a second, I'm going to put my head in the way here. You know, I probably shouldn't be using this pen to do it. Why don't I grab, there we go. There we go. Let's see here. Oh, can you hear Matt on the phone? He's on the phone downstairs. And I'm going to just neaten that up. Not perfect, but that's okay. I don't really care too much about perfect, although I don't like things that look janky either. Let's see. Let me get this. I want to get my pen working so I can do some details. Because these pens have they're a little crispy. Just a little bit, but I can get them going. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to make sure that this is in view. Now, I'm going to start at the bottom. So it's kind of funny to watch somebody use these pens because they really don't always... This pen in particular, the UniBall Signo Broad, this one actually does... This has worked better for me than any other white ball gel pen that I've really ever used. However, today it's acting a little funny, but it's funny to see what little tricks people do to try and get the ink going. They are, aren't they? You know, they're great when they're really fresh, and then you just want to use it all the time. But you know, they're so dependent on the they are so dependent on the paper, on the texture of the paper and the tooth of the paper, and if it's slick or not, and how absorbent it is. And it's just, there's so many details about these pens that will affect, or details. There's so many just things about them, about the surface, about the about your particular situation when you're using them, that will affect the way that they work. I mean, I even think like temperature is going to affect it, and there's just so many things, and you just can't account for everything, you know? So instead of just coloring in all the lines, I'm using these to sort of embellish and do additional drawing, but also color at the same time. So I'm just going to do some little highlights where I see it looks dull too, because these pens, the Posca, if I don't have like a really nice ball of little like juicy tip ink to drag, and I'm doing any pressing at all really, you can see that it's sort of sinking into the material that I had put on the page earlier yesterday, which is the pastels that I had used. So the white is not completely white, which is fine. It is what it is, but it's just something to note that they're sort of blending a little bit. I think when I'm done with this, and actually, you guys, this is not going to last too much longer because my hour is going to be up in about 20 minutes or so. And, oh, I didn't tell you the second reason why I'm not into doing super long lives, besides the fact that who wants to do a super long live? But I will, because I've done insanely long lives. But the problem is, the first problem is that IGTV, which obviously you want to put the content on that when you're done, only allows you to put an hour. The second one is the Posca brush pen. Richard, sorry. I'm stopping what I'm saying to answer Richard. No, I have not. Sounds good. I'll have to look that one up. Thank you for mentioning it. It sounds really, really interesting. I will look that up. So the second reason why I don't want to do a long live stream here on lovely Instagram, which is really like my home away from home. It's like my home base kind of. I just feel really comfortable on Instagram. Hence, hey, why not do a live stream? It's because it's flaky. It's because I think they need to improve it. You know, it's not, it's flaky because I have lost footage and been really bummed out about it. So I have done really long live streams, and so what happens is if you haven't done a live stream before on Instagram, so you do it and then it just stops abruptly at an hour. It's not going to warn you, at least not to my knowledge. I mean, if there's some secret handshake warning that I don't know about, then I need to know about it, but I don't know of any warning. I'm actually going to move this page up a little bit because I'm really focused on the bottom here, and I want you guys to be able to see it better. So that's probably good. Yeah, so there is a lack of there's a lack of warning, and if you don't save it right after you do it, then you can't save it. So when you're done with your live stream and it's like saying, okay, do you want to put this on your feed? You gotta press that little arrow button, the little arrow down button in the upper left-hand corner before you do anything, or you're not gonna be able to download your live stream and use it for whatever you want to use it for, whether you want to put it on IGTV or put it on YouTube or wherever you want to put it. You can't have it. It's no longer yours. So that is a bummer. I don't like that at all. And maybe there's some secret I don't know, but I think I have looked for all the secrets and I have not found any. So I'm going to try and make it so my tip is in the viewfinder better than just over my fingers over it. Sorry. So right now I am just doing details. I'm using my pen to not just fill in lines. I'm using it to color, but also to add additional line work and to further, add details and stuff. Add details, highlights, color, but color, drawing color, which is my preferred method of coloring, actually. I love coloring, but I will admit, when I was a kid, and probably not so much now, because I usually color my own drawings, which, feels like I'm just doing my drawing. It's like a extension of my drawing. But when I was a kid, I loved to color, but I got bored with it pretty quickly because I just wanted to draw after, or before or whatever. I mean, I would just sort of used it as another thing to do, another creative thing to do, but drawing was always my thing. And it's good because it's very complementary to drawing, which is actually why I think it's good for anybody to color, whether you consider yourself a creative person or not. And even if you're an artist and you make art, if you're drawing and you do illustrations or whatever, it's like coloring is like art therapy. It's coloring therapy. It's color therapy too, because you're not thinking about the line. You're just coloring. You're just picking your palette and you're deciding what colors to put next to each other, and you're deciding what texture you want to add, if any, and you're deciding how hard you want to press and how pigmented you want to get the look on the paper. So you're making all these decisions, and they're not drawing, You're not working on those decisions, the drawing decisions. You're just focused on color decisions, and also, you're carving out, where you want the color to go, and you're doing a lot of other cool stuff, besides drawing. It is a form of drawing, obviously. I'm drawing, but you know what I'm saying. It is very therapeutic, I have to say. And I had a hip replacement in November, and I colored my coloring books, and it was really great. It was like I had just come out with self-guidance and self-reliance, and they were the perfect coloring books for me to color, to convalesce with, I should say. So that was cool. I was really happy to have them, and I did a lot of really cool work. It's great because you get to experiment with different mediums, and it's also good because I like the freeness of it and how there's no judgment, right? You make it as detailed or as non-detailed as you want, and that's one aspect of it. And I totally just lost my train of thought, but I will remember what I was going to say in a minute when I think about it. So what was I saying? Yeah. Oh, guys, this is just like way too detailed for me to have a conversation. Jeez. I can't do it. I'm struggling today because this is so detailed. It's hard for me to have a conversation. Yeah. So, I like that. Oh, I remembered what I was saying. Yay, it happened. So I like that it's open-ended in that way, that coloring is open-ended in the fact that you can really make it whatever you want it to be, and it doesn't have to be anything you don't want it to be. So I don't have to be sitting here and carving out all this detail on this page if I don't want to. I can just do whatever I want. It doesn't matter. There's no rules and nobody's judging me. But I do like that the only, I don't know if I was going to say the only rule, but it's not really a rule, is that you're coloring. You're not, you're limited to doing a certain amount of, it's generally going to be with materials that are not going to just like destroy the coloring book, right? Because coloring books usually, not always, but they usually don't come on watercolor paper or heavier papers. So it does sort of, tend to veer towards, hey, use use stuff that is not going to destroy your coloring book. So you're not going to like throw your watercolors on there, or a lot anyway. I mean, you might do like a very light wash of something just to mix it, but unless you're using a heavier paper, unless you used a coloring page download and you printed it on a watercolor paper or a heavier type of a paper, you're probably not going to be putting a lot of wet media on there, right? So that leads you to have to experiment in a way that is, limiting your materials. So I can use paint pens. I can use gel pens. I can use crayons. I can use pastels of all kinds. And I can use markers. So there's all these things that you can use, but you're not going to want to be painting on it. So that is, so basically you're going to be using more portable materials, because all of those materials that I mentioned are sort of more, they're more along the lines of the materials that you would be able to pack up and go. So it really is very friendly to travel and to moving around and maybe not having one spot to work into. So it's just a really good activity for that, for if you are going away and you want to take something to do to keep you busy, to keep you feeling creative, and to do something relaxing if you have a stressful trip coming up or something. Coloring is good. I remember I used to take, I had quite the coloring phase or phases when I was a kid, for sure. And I remember taking, being really super into coloring one summer when I was maybe 10, maybe I was 10 or 9. I was really into coloring, and my dad and my stepmom had a place in Connecticut, and my sisters and I went over there for a few weeks in the summer, and I just colored a lot that summer in that coloring book. Oh gosh, I wish I had that. That would be so funny if I had it. Okay, so this is how far we've gotten. It's 4:25, and I'm gonna end in about 5 minutes because I started late, and Instagram's not gonna kick me off at exactly 4:30. So that's good. So another method I like to use with these pens, if they're not flowing supremely smoothly, is teeny tiny little circles. So this is sort of an offshoot of the back and forth technique that I was telling you about, but I think you have a little bit more control with the teeny tiny circles. Hey, Susan Draba from San Pedro. Yay! Yay, California. I was born in California. Fun fact. Yeah, so I think I like this guy with not all of the leaves colored in. That's kind of cool, because I do want to keep a lot of the background, which is why I do want to rein myself in on this. So when I post this to my feed later, I'm going to post the finished to my feed. Did I? Oh, okay. I'm still on? Okay, good. So my iPad just froze, and that scared me because I thought I lost my live. Anyway, here we are. And here we are. So I'm going to post the finished one to my feed later. And it might even be tomorrow. I'm not sure. sure. It sort of depends. See how much more impactful, like a little tiny dot for those stars. So I did like a little tiny dot instead of trying to fill in all those little corners. And look, it really gives like a little fairy light effect when you look at it. And the white of the stars doesn't overpower the letters. So that's also good. So yeah, I'm just going to do some accents. I'm going to try and do accents, and I'm going to try and ride the fine line of making this, making the white an integral, an integral and an integral part of this, but not overpower and not get too much of the white within the whole composition. Because I want the white to bring out the colors more. You know, I don't want the white to just take over the whole thing. I want them to like hold hands with the rainbow. I don't want them to just like beat up the rainbow, if you know what I'm saying. But then on the other hand, I also, because I'm using the white as embellishment and not like a completely filling in everything, I also don't want to just add too much detail, because it's already really detailed. So I don't want to add too much detail that's going to, again, just like be too much white, too many details. I'm going for harmony here. I'm trying for harmony, but I can't help but want to put white dots in here, because this is sort of something, okay, that's just fun. I'm going to do that here too. And there we go. So in a few minutes, Instagram is going to kick me off, and I'm just going to stay on here for a couple of more minutes. And I love that. I love doing things inside letters. That's just like, I love to do that. I don't know. I'm seeing how this is going. So this is what we got so far, guys. And I am going to hang it up today right now, because I'm going to get kicked off in 2 minutes. So I'd rather be in charge, you know. I don't want Instagram to control my life. All right. I'll see you guys soon, and have a great day. Bye-bye.